live on all of our social media platforms under the same name. That is our Facebook, our YouTube. That is Keith Ngesi Radio. Don't forget to check us out as well on www.keithngesi.radio.com. That is on our website. Or download the app at Google Play Store. That is also just Keith Ngesi Radio. All the same name, all similar, and all still doing radio according to you. Let's check out what's happening in moments in current affairs. In a statement, the party noted that an article published on the 21st of August about the King stating that they were disturbed. The ANC spoke about the animal rights activist and director of Ban Animal Trading, Dr. Smaragda Low, who questioned the King's hunting. For the record, there was no sale of the lion. The Zulu royal family had a permit and professional hunter, including a district conservation officer, who were all in attendance throughout the process. We therefore reject any attempt to pit the Zulu royal family against society, said the party. They further warned against attempts to divide our people along cultural lines. The ANC in KZN then called for all those of the province across all racial and political lines to unite and build a prosperous province. The ruling party stated that the constitution was designed to specifically protect all cultures and costumes, explaining that this was done to protect the minority communities from any form of discrimination. Adding to this, the ANC said it would be reckless to discriminate against indigenous people who are the majority. The former Rhythm City star died on August 15th. The death has yet to be announced. The venue was filled with emotion as family and friends wept along and struggled to come to terms with the star's death. Quite a legend, Zola 7 and actor Zola Hashati were among the men who carried his casket into the tent where the funeral service was held. Members of his former group, Gumshev, played a tribute song that they recorded after his death. They said, we had to pull through. He meant a lot to us. He led us through a lot of things that only the way we know how to remember him and grieve him is to make music to him. This was not the easiest thing to do. His cousin, Sizwe Zato, known as Mr. Zato, spoke of his close relationship with the star, from growing up together to working with him as one of his DJs. He said, I never thought I'd see myself standing here. I still don't believe it. There's a lot he left me that I learned from him. Being persistent, being sure, going for your goals, respecting your elders. Brian's sister, Nosipho Majola, said she was saddened to have lost a father figure in her life. She says, I will remember his gap when he laughed. He was a positive in every way. I called him dad. He left us. I don't have anyone to call the father anymore. We are now alone. Oh, Nkosi, rest in peace, Bruno. Two killed in a shootout in the National Intervention Unit and 11 firearms seized. Two men were killed in a shootout with police in Ampangeni, KwaZulu-Natal in the early hours of Tuesday, 23rd of August. So the SAPS spokesperson Constable Tenji Swangobo said members of the NIU received information about a man in possession of firearms in the area. The officers headed to the house in Fairwell Street, where all necessary measures were taken to gain access to the house. The owner allegedly refused to allow police onto his property, and they were met with a hail of bullets. A shootout ensued, which left the 45-year-old homeowner and his 36-year-old security guard dead at the scene. Ngobo said 4 rifles, including 2 AK-47s, a shotgun, 5 pistols, a revolver, and 397 rounds of ammunition were seized at the house. Charges of attempted murder, inquest, as well as unlawful possession of firearms and ammunition were opened for the investigation at Mpangeni's SAPS. The NIU was established in 1979 and previously known as the Reaction Unit, when then the Tactical Intervention Group, until it was given its current name in 2004. It was set up to address high-risk operations and help the Special Task Force, another elite SAPS unit, with its increased workload. Earlier this week, NIU members in the Western Cape arrested a man linked to a spate of business robberies in Cape Town. An AK-47 rifle was also found during the search before his arrest. It's a chilly night in Mondio, south of Johannesburg, and a lounge group gathers outside a quaint home, candles in hand, to mourn and reflect on the corruption fight to Babita Deokaran's gruesome death last year. The group gathered to honor Babita Deokaran is comprised of activists from organizations such as the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation, Action for Accountability, and the Public Service Accountability Monitor, along with her friends and family. As the Director of Finance Accounting, she flagged the siphoning of millions from the public purse as the Gauteng Department of Health threw out activities such as COVID-19 related tenders for personal protective equipment. People hold banners and posters during the candlelight ceremony held outside Babita Deokaran's Winchester Hills home, south of Johannesburg, where she was killed just a year ago. Ali Gule, with the white cap that we see in one of the pictures of the organization Undoing Tax Abuse, and others during a candlelight ceremony held outside Babita Deokaran's Winchester Hills home, south of Johannesburg. Very sad what happens when a whistleblower stands up for what is right and gets the worst kind of treatment, usually in the form of physical attack, most of the time leading to death, because there are people trying to protect the wrongdoing. The public protector is facing even more damning evidence. There have been yet more damning allegations against suspended public protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane. Her manager says he was told not to make adverse findings in the Vrede Dairy Farm probe. The project was meant to help poor black farmers, but the money was siphoned off. Reginald Ndo was testifying at the inquiry into Mkhwebane's fitness to hold office, but Mkhwebane says she can't remember giving instruction. The inquiry continues on Wednesday. The proposed national shutdown by trade unions is taking place because of the inaction of government and business. Let's find out a little bit more about what's happening with the actions that are being taken with regards to this very, very, very interesting and I guess a confusing time when we as the public are being told to do one thing and unions are doing another. Excuse me. South African Federation of Trade Unions General Secretary Zwelinzima Vavi says the country has been calling for assistance with rising unemployment levels and increased cost of living, but government has done nothing. Things are skyrocketing, and they are skyrocketing at a time when the crisis of unemployment is deepening. We can't just look where we've marched before. Things don't change. We've got to keep on marching. Kosatu says the country is in the midst of a cost of living crisis, but businesses just care about profits. COSATU Deputy President Michael Shingange said all they are worried about is the millions and billions that they lose as industry when they can't make production. But don't think of the people that are giving them 350 Rand a month and those people who buy perishables in bulk and put them in the fridge in the 8 hours that there is no electricity, etc. So there is a crisis at hand, according to the union leaderships, and they want this to be the reason why people take action against what they consider the drastic status quo. Though she has received criticism for some of her remarks, some South Africans have given Ramathuba their backing. The video itself is extraordinary. The top health official engages with the patient from Zimbabwe and then expresses her immediate disdain upon finding out their background. Ramathuba tells the bed-stricken foreign national that their presence in Bela Hospital puts a huge strain, on the Limpopo Health Department's budget. She goes on to slam Zimbabweans for treating South Africa like a charity. The politician then capped her rant by suggesting that the patient should be back with Emmerson Mnangagwa, Zimbabwe's current president. She says, "You're supposed to be with Mnangagwa. He doesn't give me money to operate you guys. Now I must operate you with my limited budget. When you guys are sick, you decide to cross into Limpopo. The embassy in South Africa is a charity department. That's what gets said." The truth is painful. Limpopo has about 5.7 million people, she said. Most of these citizens do not have medical aid. They rely on the state. Instead of using my limited budget for what is meant for, we are here sorting out something Emmerson Mnangagwa must do. She also continued to say, "This is exactly why when the people of Limpopo want access to health systems, they cannot get it. This is angering the community. You guys aren't even registered here. You are not counted. Some are illegal. It's unfair. I cannot go to Zimbabwe and get help myself," she said. The video could become something of a flashpoint. Anti-immigrant groups in Mzansi have been driving home the agenda for the past few years, and now they seem to have an MEC in support. In expressing her earnest views, Ramathuba runs the risk of adding more fuel to the fire. I won't lie, I had a good look at that video as well this morning, and as much as there might be criticism related to, the core problem or the core issue that is being raised there, the way it was put was pretty self-explanatory, but we'll wait to see what the repercussions of this are. It's 28 minutes now before 10 a.m. A possible 3.8 magnitude quake or seismic-like event was felt near Durban. Dozens of people reported ground shaking, which was possibly caused by seismic activity near Durban, KwaZulu-Natal on Tuesday night. Volcano Discovery said the reports were unverified. However, there were at least 27 user reports for the event, which the site estimated to have a magnitude of around 3.8 by using a seismic model. It occurred at approximately 21:07 last night. Most users reported a weak shaking, vibration, and rolling that lasted for 1 or 2 seconds. The roof and windows were rattled loudly, adding someone in Gillets. "My bed and cupboard was shaking, felt the whole house," someone in Southbroom. Another said, "I was sitting at my desk studying. We live on the 3rd floor of an apartment block along the eastern coast of South Africa. The desk appeared to roll, the lamp shook, and I felt I needed to hold on to something." That was in Margate. Volcano Discovery estimates that the epicenter of the seismic event was somewhere in the Mgungundlovu district municipality. South African Council for Geoscience also picked up a 3.4 magnitude event at 8 minutes past 11 p.m. somewhere near Swartberg in the Western Cape. The event was not analyzed by seismologists. Thanks to the power of social media, most people in a relationship stalk their boyfriends or girlfriends if they suspect they are being cheated on, while others turn to radio. New Zealand-based radio hosts Sharon Casey and Jaden King helped a woman catch her boyfriend cheating on the radio. Sharon pranked the woman's boyfriend by pretending to be her friend, and things took an interesting turn. Oh Lord. A New Zealand woman told Edge radio hosts Sharon Casey and Jaden King that she suspected that her boyfriend of 5 years was cheating on her. Before the radio host called the woman's boyfriend using a fake name, they told her that her well-being came first and that they didn't have to do the prank on radio, but she told them to go ahead. Sharon was using the name Virginia for the call, but she needed the help organizing a surprise party for the woman and suggested that before the party, the boyfriend should take his girlfriend on a date. When Sharon asked if the two were dating or were just friends, the boyfriend said, "I guess you can say we are dating." Sharon didn't hesitate to take shots at her boyfriend, asking him if he'll be putting the date in his calendar and the other woman's calendar too. You and your girlfriend, have you been together for 5 years, just wondering if she likes to keep up with your relationships, said Sharon. After they hung up the phone, the girlfriend burst into tears and said it was a kind of effed up. That's what she said. And what can one say when you run into such information? Now, according to he texted, 30 to 40% of people in the relationships who are unmarried will cheat on their partners. The publication further mentions that 18 to 20% of people in marriages will most likely cheat on their partners. Cheating is not limited to physical interactions, but it can also include kissing, flirting, sex, and exchanging sexual messages. 24 minutes now before 10 a.m. In national sports interest, Banyana Banyana have received a whopping 15 million rand from the South African government for the 2022 Women's Africa Cup of Nations. Desiree Ellis charged were crowned African champions for the first time ever as they beat the hosts Morocco 2-1 in the final in July. The South African Football Association had promised 9.2 million as the bonus for the Banyana Banyana if they won AFCON. And the country's full support fulfilled the promise, while the Sports, Arts and Culture Department added 5.8 million on top of the 9.2 million. Now the Sports Minister Natim Tetwa has revealed that the department met with national government after the 5.8 million bonus was pledged. And the government, led by the Cyril Ramaphosa leadership, decided to increase the bonus from 5.8 million to 15 million, meaning 9.2 million was added to the initial pledge. We are here to announce that the national government's contribution to the team has been 15 million that comes from the national department. And you remember the president said 5.8 million, so you can do your calculations. It means 9.2 million was allocated, said Natim Tetwa. Awesome stuff. Congratulations, ladies. You deserve it. Finally, and further afield, in our beautiful yet sometimes troubled continent of Africa, a Kenyan election official who was in charge of the constituency in the just-ended elections collapsed and died on Monday. Jeffrey Gitobu was at the electoral body's office in Nanyuki town in central Kenya when he collapsed and was pronounced dead at the hospital near the office. He was in charge of the elections in the Gichugu constituency, Kirinyaga country in central Kenya. Mr. Kitobo had not complained of any illness and was in Nanyuki to visit his family over the weekend before heading to the office on Monday. According to the county returning officer Jane Kitonga, the deceased was supposed to report back to his Kirinyaga base on Wednesday. The official's death came days after the officer in charge of a constituency, the capital Nairobi, was tortured and murdered after disappearing from a tallying center. The Electoral Commission's chairperson, Wafula Chebukati, had earlier said officers were being intimidated and threatened over the 9 August general election. That brings us to the conclusion of our moments in current affairs. 21 minutes now before 10 a.m.